This is In Discussion with Denovo. Interviews, insights and advice from industry experts, keeping you connected in the legal community. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry we're running just a couple of minutes late. Welcome along to episode 7 of In Discussion with Denovo, connecting the legal community with interviews, insights and advice from industry experts. I'm here as always with my colleague Stephen Hill, Operations Director at Denovo, and our very special guest, Forbes Bryce, Business Coach from Freshwater Business Coaching. So I'll just give you a bit of background about Forbes before we properly introduce him. Forbes has been a business coach for 15 years and is now, he claims at least, semi-retired, having bought a place over in the south of France back in 2016. Tries to spend as much of his time there as possible. Clearly, due to COVID-19, he, like the rest of us, is stuck here in the UK and is delighted to be joining us for this webinar, which I'm not sure I believe that he prefers to be here on the webinar in the south of France. But anyway, I'll take him at his word. So Forbes told us that he's from a family of 7 boys. He grew up in the East End of Glasgow. He says that when growing up, being in front of one lawyer was never for a positive reason, and hopes that being in front of so many today can be a positive one, which... So maybe we'll find out a bit more about that. Forbes left his modern comprehensive school and started his career as an assistant scientific officer at the Dunray nuclear power station in Caithness. 2 years later, it became obvious that the new fast breeder reactors, which Dunray was never going to be commercially viable, and so he left Caithness and went grape picking in France, which I'm assuming is where his love of that part of the world began, and before starting a new career as a manager within the John Menzies Group. Forbes gained extensive experience with John Menzies, and when he left in 2015, he was running a £90 million turnover business with a 10-man management team and over 200 staff working a heavily unionised environment, operating 24/7. He's coached across many business sectors, including the legal sector, typically helping firms grow and businesses grow to their first million and beyond. So quite an impressive CV. And just wanted to say, Forbes, merci de nos rejoindre, Forbes. Have I got that right?
Oui, merci à vous.
Yes, that's about as French as I get. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here, and I'm sure all our listeners are going to really get something out of this when we actually delve into the discussion itself. So
can I just say up front,
of
though,
course,
that I really think that lawyers are good guys. That genuinely, that we need lawyers, and I'd hate to think what the world would be like if we didn't have lawyers in place. So,
absolutely.
I was a white sheep in my family. So it was all hearsay about lawyers.
Yeah, definitely. So today, what we're going to do, Forbes will go into a bit more about what he does, a bit more of an overview. We'll just delve into the discussion. We'll have a Q&A, a bit about how to reach out to Forbes for support. We'll talk about our next episode coming next week, and how you can get in touch, and how to watch again, because we will be recording the session as we always do.
Cool.
So I suppose with the first question really that I've got for you, Forbes, is can you give the listeners just a bit more background into how and why you became a business coach, and potentially some of the ways that you help businesses, kind of in general?
Yeah, cool, absolutely. Just a wee bit on the logistics of this. I guess webinars for me is quite a new venture too. But how interactive is it? Are the people who are listening in, are they able to just ping you an email, or are they able to come back?
Yeah, anybody who's listening just now will be able to they'll be able to type in a question. So anybody listening right now, feel free to do so. There's a Q&A at the end of the discussion, so we can pick up a few questions if and when they come in.
Yeah,
and we'll put them to you.
Yeah, I'd quite like them to actually just fire questions in as and when they come to them. You create that at the end. But what I want to know right now is from these guys is how many of you are listening to this in your garden in the sunshine with a cold beer? So could you? Because if you're not, why not?
Yeah, correct.
I'm genuine about that. I'll just give us a thumbs up or something. Let us know who's actually enjoying this. And by the way, right now, France, this is beating France. I'm missing the culture, but the weather here is absolutely superb.
Deborah and Michael's just raised their hand, so there's at least one person doing so at the moment.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I'm not, by the way. I'm sitting in the office, but I'll be straight out in the garden, only because it's noisy outside. Okay, so yeah, a wee bit about why I became a business coach. In my life as in general management, I dealt with a lot of small businesses, and I was appalled, genuinely appalled at how poor the knowledge was of running a business. They were good at what they did. I remember a particular contractor, a delivery contractor I was working with. He had a superb operation, and he went from 5 vans to 20 vans. And by the end of his study, he had 40 vans, all working in different sectors. And I came out to have a chat with my night shift one night, and there he was loading a van. And I went over to him and I said, you know, what are you doing here? And he said, well, what do you mean, Forbes? This is what I do. I'm a driver. So well, who's running your business? And he looked at me blank as if to say, what? He came to me about 2 months later and said to me, Forbes, do you know anybody can help me with my invoicing because I'm 6 months behind? He went bust about 8 months after that. The level of business education we get in this country, I think is appalling. We all get taught to be good at the thing, you know, so we get taught to be good, become an accountant, become a lawyer, become a lorry driver, become whatever. And that's what we focus on. But when we get to the point where we want to start our own business, who do we turn to for that level of knowledge? So we need a level of training in there. But what I've found in dealing with business owners is that, yeah, they talk a good game, but when it comes to actually doing this stuff, they need a bit of a prod, a bit of a push, a bit of coaching, just a bit more persuasion, shall I put it, to get them to do the things they need to do to help them to improve their business. I know it sounds daft, but it's absolutely true. And the last 15 years I've had great fun and great success doing it, as have the businesses I've been coaching.
Great.
So does that give you a potted history of
yes, no, it does. It's no, it's really interesting. I suppose just understanding that journey, and I suppose then, just your overall opinion and your view on what you've seen over the years is, I can definitely say from a few of the businesses that I've worked in that that coaching has been required in specific areas sometimes. So I suppose that's what I was kind of getting to as well, was just kind of generally, so if someone kind of comes to you and says, right, like the guy driving the van,
yeah,
says, how can you go about helping them, just in general terms? I know we're going to get into a little bit more of the detail of it, but just in general terms.
Yeah, well, again, there's two sides to the coaching side of the business. There is the training side of it. You don't know what you don't know, so there's a level of knowledge needs to be imparted to various business owners to learn the things that they haven't learned about in business. Typically, when you start a business, you get that feeling in your gut, you're really excited, you just jump in, and then maybe 18 months down the line, you go, what the hell have I done? So there's a level of training involved in it. But the coaching side of it is, I can't do it for you. My goal is that when I walk away from a business, they know how to do it. I don't do it for them.
Yeah.
they learn how to do it by practice and by support. They get to make their own decisions. I'll certainly challenge them on the decisions they're making, so that I know that they're absolutely certain about the decisions they're going to make, and they go ahead with that. And honestly, it's as simple as that. It's just like going to the gym. You go to the gym, and you look at the range of equipment that's there. You get taught how to use the equipment, and you can do it, and you can do it quite well. But will you ever push yourself as hard as you need to get that body that you're after, unless you've got a personal trainer pushing you?
Yeah.
So depending on where you want to go, where your ambition wants to take you, I'll be there to support and coach you and push you all the way along, and provide the level of knowledge and training that you need to make that happen. And I would hope that's what all good business coaches do. People who say that they're life coaches and business coaches, I'm sorry, but if they've not got a business background, skills and knowledge, I don't see how they can possibly be business coaches.
Sure. So that's a really good overview. So one of the things that we spoke about in sort of preparation for this is was 4 words, which was aim, plan, do, review.
Yeah.
And kind of like the sort of abiding principles really of business. I mean, what has the 4 words aim, plan, do, review got to do with business principles?
Well, it's got more to do with business principles than what you're showing me right now. So it's aim, plan, do, review. And the key point in that, Grant, is set out your aims. When you first set out in business, you probably just jumped into it to go off and do your thing. But what is it you're trying to achieve? What are the aims? What's the goals that you've set yourself for your business? What does it look like when it's finished? Most people just jump in, start, and just get on with the work they do, because typically people go into the business doing the things that they were trained to do. Like I say, an accountant becomes an accountant, a lawyer becomes a lawyer, in a legal business. A hairdresser decides to open up their own business as a hairdresser. They've got those skill sets. And by the way, I'm assuming here that everybody listening in are absolutely brilliant at what they do and deliver a really quality service to their clients. Because if you're not good at that, I can't help you with that stuff. That's your specialism. My specialism is business. So people jump in. What's the aim? What is it you're trying to achieve in your business? We're in, I suppose, the elephant in the room is this whole COVID scenario just now. How are we going to get through this? How are we going to survive this? Well, the question I have for everybody here is, what is your goal? What is your goal through this? Is it, I need to survive? If so, what does that look like? What does that look like? And the Bank of England have predicted this V dip in the economy. It's going to come down and come straight back up. I read a quote this morning that says, the Bank of England has predicted the worst economic crash since 1709. Economists are less optimistic. That's just mad.
Yeah.
Every business is going to be affected differently by this. We need to control obviously the costs and the sales and through this period, and then be ready to come back up that sharp V. It's like the Bank of England have predicted this kind of a steep, almost like a really bad roller coaster ride, and we've just got to hang on through it, which is why they're throwing money at us to see us through the cash flow scenario where we're in this dip. They're the ones that have stopped the economy from moving. We need to get through this. But I would ask everyone to say, to look at their business and say, right, what's my goal in this period and how am I going to plan my way through it? Because that's the next step. What's your goals? What's your plan? What's your aim? So aim and then plan. What is the plan you're going to put down there? And again, the number of people, if you were going to build an extension to your house, Grant, would you just start by hiring a cement mixer, buying a big whole load of bricks and then go off and doing it?
No, I would hire an architect.
To do what?
Plan.
Exactly. To draw up a plan. right? Because if you don't put the plan down in place, what the hell is it going to look like when you're finished?
Mm-hmm.
Why do people start businesses without a plan? Not just start the business, but ongoing. Like aim, plan, do, review comes from good project management. Every single large business does aim, plan, do, review, and they'll do it on a regular basis. Small businesses need to learn to do the same. They need to make that change. But this is just an abiding business principle. What is it we're trying to achieve this month, this week, this quarter, this year, over the next 3-5 years? What's the plan? What is the plan to help us achieve that? And then you do the doing. So we go from aim to plan to the do. They say you plan the work, then you work the plan. And as you're working the plan, as you're doing the do, you're reviewing it constantly. Is this taking us towards our goals, or is it moving away from it? Tweaking it constantly. And then at the end, a big review to say, what have we learned from that, and what can we do better next time?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It feels as if I'll be a bit lecturing here, but it's
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I think that, it's important. I mean, it's good from our point of view. We're trying to run a business the same as everyone listening.
Yeah.
So it's important that we follow certain principles to ensure that we stay on track, and we have a plan that we actually stick to as well. I found that, when I've spoken to people running businesses, I've got a lot of friends who run small businesses. I mean, my wife runs a small beauty business, and it's something that she definitely does. She's like, right, where do I want to be in the next year, next 3 years, next 5 years, next 10 years? And it's about trying to hit those goals and setting out those objectives and making them really clear as well. But ultimately, it's about growth, isn't it? Really.
Absolutely. And that going through that process helps to clarify things for everyone. Am I on track? Am I not on track? What do I need to tweak? What I would say is the aim and the goals shouldn't change over the period you're talking about, but the doing can change, and the plan can change. If the market moves, if things in the plan you find aren't working, it's okay to tweak the plan. Mm-hmm. But we shouldn't move the goalposts.
Yeah.
Just because it's a wee bit hard, it's a wee bit difficult. And again, that's what coaching does. It'll help you review the plan to see what's working, what's not working. But if you set out goals, then the coach is about making sure that you get those goals. Yeah,
I think one thing that we've definitely done over the past year or so is when we've been planning is really thinking about the process of how we do things.
Yep.
And setting out steps throughout a particular process, be it gaining new business, be it whatever. And I think from there, the process shouldn't ever really change. It's like you say, you don't want the goalpost change. So if you set out a process to do something, so if that's grow your business from X to Y, then I think it's only really, well, my view would be it would only be the length of time that it would take, but the actual process of getting there shouldn't change. Would that be right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're absolutely right, because we plan to do it in a time frame. Again, your best estimate might not be right. It might be shorter than that. It might be longer than that. Mm-hmm. But the goal doesn't move. If that goal's important to you, why would you move it?
Yeah, sure.
What is it you're trying to achieve in all of that? Mm-hmm. And this is a good time for all businesses, not just lawyers, to be looking at, what do I need to do? What do I need to, first before I need to do, what do I want to achieve out of this? Mm-hmm. Write out my plan and then work the plan.
Yeah, I think it's just it's taking that time to actually write out the business plan, isn't it? I think, I always compare these things. It's almost like studying for an exam, right? You don't really want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to, because you need to pass. So it's going to, in terms of long term gain, it's going to benefit you. So absolutely. That's the way that I would always look at it. Right? Okay, maybe I don't really want to do this. It's maybe not my comfort zone, because I think that's where a lot of people live, don't they? They live within their comfort zone. So
we all do. We all do.
If you're a good lawyer, you're a good marketeer, you're whatever. You live in that zone. It's like you say, you're good at what you do, so you just continue to do it and do it and do it and do it. Whereas if you actually take a step back and go, do you know what? Well, am I doing it to the best of my ability? Do I know where Where am I trying to get to? So I definitely buy into that.
Regardless of what you're trying to achieve, you need someone to hold you accountable and support you. Make your goals, get them out there so that someone can hold you accountable to achieving those goals.
Yeah.
If you're going to the gym, twice a week and just going through the routine, you walk out, you wonder why you're not getting that 6-pack through, and you wonder why you're not bulking up. Well, it's because you're letting yourself off the hook.
I know that feeling.
Someone to be pushing you. And Stephen, you fascinate me how you can run those ultra marathons without anybody pushing you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it must be easy for you, Stephen.
I think I'm doing well. Saying I'll do a 5K, and then you speak to Stephen, he says, I went out a light run earlier today, just the 14 miles, in 23-degree heat. I was just going, all right, okay, kind of brings you back down to earth a little bit.
Absolutely.
Today it was too warm for 14.
All right. Good for you.
But then again, it's like, what's the next level up for Stephen? What's the next level? So I say, that's not a question directed at you, because I realise that with your age now, you start to feel back a wee bit.
Wind down.
The aim, plan, do, review, survival. Survival through this stage is, like any business, has to be back to a basic equation. Income less costs equals profit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a basic formula in business, and we have to manage that. And right now, I imagine that lawyers, just like every other business, are all over their costs.
Yeah.
The government have thrown money at us to say, right, we want to reduce your costs. So if the volume of work's reduced, furlough your staff, get them off your payroll. We'll pay for them at least 8% of their money to try and reduce those costs for you. But if your sales have fallen off even further, then you maybe need to look at the reducing costs further. And I guess everybody's in that place just now is saying, I don't know what the next 6 months is going to look like. What am I going to have to do? So prepare your plan for that.
Yeah.
Like I say, so if my bottom line profit is hitting this, then I need to do this. If it's growing, then we need to do this. And just plan it, please.
Well,
everyone, plan it.
It's a good lead in, actually, Forbes, to my next question, because you mentioned you wanted to talk about the P word, and with that, I'm assuming you weren't meaning panic, so that you were actually meaning P for profit. So what do you actually mean by the abiding business principles?
Well, honestly, it's most basic. Income less expenses equals profit. Mm-hmm. It's either a negative, a positive, or it's just a flat line. It's a zero in there. And we all come into business for one reason and one reason only. Yes, we want to serve the greater good, but for a profit. We want to make money out of this. So how do we get income to grow during this time? How do we, if we're trying to control our expenses, and I know you'll all be out there doing a cracking job, all of your expenses, what I would say is, please don't stop ever doing that now. Now that you're doing it, do it and continue to do it. If you're still doing it off a spreadsheet, shame on you. You should be using, there's plenty of technology out there that will help you to do this and get the information you need to make decisions in your business. So, find out what software out there is going to be good for you. Get management accounts on the month.
I can think of one, Forbes, it's very good. It's very good. I can think just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
There.
What one's that then? Yeah, but if this pandemic had hit 15 years ago, when we were still running adverts in Yellow Pages, and the internet was in its infancy, really, I'd hate to think where businesses would be. But technology has given us such a great opportunity through this. And through the P word, I want to talk about another abiding principle. That is about, from the P word, we go to the S word, selling. Now, if we can only restrict and contract expenses so much, we need to be able to grow sales. Now, other people will talk about increasing your marketing and getting more inquiries. fantastic. Yeah, please do that. Be all over your marketing as well. But when you get an inquiry, what are you doing with it? What's happening to your inquiry when it comes into your business? Now, for the people listening, I'd ask you, do you have a sales process? Do you have a written down, defined sales process that all your fee earners are signed up to, understand, and carry out with consistency? Now, if your business is one where it's only one person that actually handles the inquiries and deals with the clients, then pass it on to the lawyers, fantastic. Are they trained up to do it? And is it the stats that I'm told in the legal industry is that 25% of inquiries turn into sales. We call it conversion rate. What if your business converted 50%? What would that do to your business?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm imagining that some areas of law will have been affected quite significantly. Obviously, conveyancing comes to mind, but other areas of law will have dropped quite significantly. But what have you done in the meantime? I mean, the way you're going to sell has changed because you're not meeting people face to face now. So have you reviewed your sales process to say, right, how are we handling it? So when a call comes in or an inquiry comes in, who handles that? Is it handed off to a lawyer? Does your lawyer then contact the person just over the phone and try to sell over the phone? Have they ever sold over the phone in their life? Or is it always done face to face? Are you using the video channels now to communicate with your clients? I mean, we need to be able to adapt to that and do it well, but have it written down so everyone understands it. Again, in the sales process, there are 4 stages, and this is, again, back to basic principles. By the way, for those of you who don't like the term sales, selling is being a professional of integrity to help others make a buying decision in your area of expertise. Now, why would you not want to help someone? Why would you not want to be that trusted advisor? That's what you are when you're selling to someone. You're selling your services, but you're helping that person with the challenges that they're coming to face you with. Mm-hmm. So the 4 stages are: step 1, trust. You need to build trust and rapport very, very quickly. Now, if someone coming in an email or on the phone, how are you going to do that now? How are you going to build that trust? Because typically before, they would walk in to your office, it would look great, it would be reflecting the brand, they go, wow, I'm really impressed with these people. They'd meet a nice smiley face who offers them a cup of coffee. They got taken to meet the lawyer, got a smiling face, and it's a really nice place to go, you know what, I'm liking this place, I'm thinking of using these guys. They're already starting to warm up to use you. That ain't happening over the phone. So how are you replacing that? What are you doing to help you build trust? And then the next stage is, after trust, is need. Now, I guess you all do this very, very well as lawyers. Need. Why have you come to me? What is your need from our firm? And really get into that and get to understand what their needs are before you go and offer what the help is, what you can do to resolve whatever situation they're in. And then it's about getting the decision from them. So trust, need, help, decision. Those 4 steps, build that into your sales process. Build that in so that it's done consistently. And if you find that you go from 25 to 27, how can we improve that? You've got a process that you can improve. You can't improve individuals who are just, shooting from the hip. You have to have a process written down. Mm. So within your own business then, Grant, what do you guys do?
With regards to
it'll be changed for you guys too. You can't meet up with lawyers to sell over your system.
No, absolutely. No, we've had to we're all working remotely. We're all working from home. So we obviously have people within the business that are I suppose actively selling, or at least dealing with inquiries. So we've had to look at our entire sales process, amend it to fit the needs of our potential customers, and that resulted in, well, one of the key things that we do is part of the selling process is a demonstration of a software, as you can imagine. In normal circumstances, you know, the lawyer would be invited into our office, or we would go on site to their office, and we would demonstrate it, be that on a large screen, on a PC, whatever hardware we have available to us. But that just can't happen now. So we've moved to online demonstrations using Zoom, like we're doing right now, and it's actually proved to be, I suppose, just as efficient, really, as it has been. But it's not, you know, I'm not saying it's been a seamless transition, because there are other things that we have had to do, which primarily happened in person, on-site training, for example. So if you buy our software, you then need to learn how to use it, and that again, you would either be invited into our office, into our training environment, or we would go on site, and you would have one or two of our experts with you, overseeing what you're doing, supporting you in that in person, you know, with a bank of laptops or whatever it may be, PCs, where they can view in person exactly what you're doing, and that can't happen now. So again, we've moved to online training. What we had to do, well, there was some of our training team hadn't delivered online training previously.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have to get them into a place where they feel comfortable doing that before they physically do it. And then I think from our point of view, definitely something that we have been doing with anyone that has received that kind of training is ask for feedback. Was it useful? What can we do better? Because if we're going to describe this as a new normal, and you know, the expectation for us is that we're not going to be back in the office anytime soon. So therefore, this is going to continue. So we need to know from our customers what works best for them, and then respond to that.
Yeah, and that's the same for every business. You know, we need to adapt and change to fit with the customer's expectations, because people now, my 78-year-old brother comes on the Zoom quiz with the family every Friday night, and I'm sure we're all doing that. People are used to this now. They're used to the norm of doing this, and some people might still prefer to do it, but we need to be good at helping people and reviewing our sales processes to reflect what the new environment requires.
Sure. No, ideal. So the next question, Forbes, was the words effective and efficient have a lot of similarities, and because of this, they're often misused, maybe even misinterpreted, both in daily use and then application. Where does effective then efficient come into all of this?
It's interesting that the screen you've put up just now, a guy called Peter Drucker back in the 70s said that effective is doing the right thing, and efficient is doing the thing right. You know, there's no point in being efficient at doing the wrong thing. And they actually cited an example from American 1970s. Were getting absolutely thrashed in car sales by the Japanese. Japanese had flooded the market, and those big companies were doing as well. So they got really, really efficient at producing their cars. But sales didn't go up because the market had moved. They were still producing big gas guzzlers as efficiently as the Japanese were producing the small compact cars that everybody was buying. So first, be effective, and then be efficient. So within your own business, review the stuff that is effective, the things that are taking you towards your goals. Again, that's back to aim, plan, do, review. What are the goals? What is it you're trying to achieve? And then do it as efficiently as you possibly can. If you're spending time, sending the same style, the same letter out time and time again, having to rewrite it every time for every client, why are you doing it like that? I give a simple example of this from just from the weekend. My local butcher was, when I walked in, was berating one of his team. When he came up to serve me, and he knows me well. I said, "What was that about?" He said, "He never sets the counter up the way I want him to. I tell him time and time again, that's how you set up the the counter, but he just doesn't listen. I said, well, why don't you systemize it? What do you mean? Can you write out what goes where for everybody? He says, no, just take a photograph of it. He swore at me. Swore at me, smiled, and then served me. I took a photograph, and his counter's been tickety-boo ever since. You know, it doesn't have to be technology, but we've got such a wealth of good technology out there. If we do things efficiently, we can reduce those costs further. But the great thing is, with technology, we can offer the client a consistent and brilliant process. Mm-hmm. They will get the same experience every time, and that's a great thing for the brand. Mm-hmm. So be efficient, and all through your business. You know, when you guys are offering a tremendous system to the legal world. Mm-hmm. If any business just now is still dealing with spreadsheets, is still dealing with hand crank and online, aren't using the cloud for the stuff, they must be really struggling right now. Mm-hmm. You know, they're probably feeling the place where they felt. I guess it's the laggards who are slow to take up this kind of stuff. The people who are slow to move away from yellow pages, to actually create their own website. This situation we find ourselves in now is pushing everybody to move, being efficient at the way you do your work, do it consistently and doing it well. Oh, well, one of my clients, they developed apps for clients. One of the clients that they had their funding pulled, so they had to put a pause on this particular project. So one of the developers had a 3-week gap in his workload. Tasked him to build a tool to make them more efficient, and that tool is about building a part of building the app, which used to take them a week, is now done in 10 minutes.
Wow!
You think about what technology can offer to, and only the lawyers can turn around and look at their business, review it, and say, you know what? Here's the areas where we can improve our processes and our systems, and here is the technologies out there. Go and research it that can help us do it.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about looking outside the legal world, looking outside your own arena for examples of others who have processes in place or running successful businesses. So rather than just focusing on the competitor down the street, actually go out with that.
It's a great tip, Grant. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There's the apocryphal story of the airlines. Well, not now, but airlines typically, when they're on the ground, they're not making money. So turnaround time for airlines was absolutely crucial. How did they get better at the turnaround times? They went to Formula One. Mm-hmm. Because, they turn a car around in seconds, or parts of a second. So they looked at that, and going outside your own industry at best practices is a really, really good tip.
Wouldn't mind a pit stop in Mallorca right now. That'd be all right.
Oh, you can't complain about the weather, surely.
I know. We'll always complain, though, wouldn't we? No, that's a really good point. That.
Yep. So that's been helpful for.
Yeah, no, it has been. I mean, I've got one more question. It's really just based on this, just from me, and then we've got a couple of questions that have came in. But we're releasing an article tomorrow morning which focuses on the reasons why law firm leaders should be using this time to focus on working on, not just in their business. And you'll see on the screen now this quote from McKinsey who we had on a few weeks ago. And as you can imagine, given the nature of what we do as a business, the narrative points towards a little bit about what you've been talking about, technology, and how that can help an individual or law firm do that. But so could you give our listeners maybe more general advice about how to do that, so to start working on the business rather than in it? I mean, you've touched on it briefly throughout, but I just think it's the right time, for that to happen. We've sort of been given the gift of time, and that we didn't expect, really.
Well, for some practices, I guess there'll be practices who have furloughed staff where the boss is actually on tools now. Mm-hmm. But for most people, we've got that time. Look, when I start working with a client, I tell them that a business should fund the lifestyle you aspire to and give you the time to enjoy it. Those things always get out of whack. You know, I'm not making enough money and I'm too busy. I'm making enough money, but I'm having to be the brilliant lawyer. You will never grow a business significantly beyond a kind of lifestyle business if you're always working in. If you're always on the tools, you have to be the business owner. You have to run the business. You know, don't be the lawyer. Be the business owner.
Yeah.
And if you can be the business owner, and that means working on the business more than 50% of your time. If you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, you want to be the great lawyer, then bring in somebody who will do that for you. But yeah, you will not grow to any significant size if you're always in the business, just doing, you know, basically at the coalface. Because I assume that what's happening is most of the time then you're doing the on the business stuff when you're at home. When you should be spend time with your kids, and that's, I'm guess, when you went into business, wasn't the lifestyle you aspired to.
Sure. No, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely ideal. I mean, everything that
Look
you've
forward to
covered.
seeing the article.
Yeah, it's it'll be out tomorrow morning, so we'll get that sent out to everyone that's listening, and you know, everyone on our mailing list. So we'll push that out. It should be a pretty good read, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So yeah, thanks very much for that, folks. Stephen, have we had any questions in?
Yeah, we've had one in during the session. So someone asked if they want to grow their business, where do they start?
Start from right from where they are right now. If they want to grow their business, they start right where they are. They have to make a decision. Where do they want to go? So that's back to the aim, plan, do, review. What is it I want to achieve? Obviously my bad, I've not made that clear. If you're going to grow your business, you start from where you are and you set out, I want to get to, if you're a business turnover, you know, $1 million just now, and you want to get to 5 million, what's the steps along the way? That's my goal, 5 million. So then plan out, what do I need to do? Now, if anyone wants any help with how to go about that, happy to have a chat with them. You can give me by the way, I'm not joking about being semi-retired. I really am. So I'm not looking to take on any clients just now, but I'm happy to chat with anyone if they're looking for help with any particular part of what we've been talking about, or just in general. But yeah, growing is back to aim, plan, do, review. I can't make any simpler than that. You know, that's where you start, where you are right now and where you want to get to. And then what's the plan we need to put in place to make that happen? That's growing sales and growing the team. Because if you're looking to do it all yourself, ain't going to happen.
Do you think there's a feeling sometimes, I maybe get this, that certain people in certain industries don't feel as if they're in a selling industry almost? You know, it's like, well, are you a sales? Well, do you say, well, yeah, we're in the legal profession, you provide a service.
Yeah,
but
there's and again, it's back to this, you know, word sales, and I guess back to the dodgy sales of double glazing of the 70s and stuff. The reputation follows them, but look, you know, nothing moves unless it's sold. We're all in the game of sales. If you're drawing breath, you're selling something. And we I know that the legal world has been sort of it's much maligned about its the pace of change in the legal world. Certainly, you know, the courts now, there's a business that needs a complete overhaul. You know, if that was a private business, I don't think it would exist. But the legal world, there's a bunch of smart guys in the legal world, and I'm sure they can all change, and they do change. It's just they've got a reputation. It's not same as sales. Sales got a reputation, but in truth, we need to get good at selling, and more so now. You know, people will talk to you about marketing, improve your marketing, yes, but why would you improve your marketing if you're only converting at 25%? Improve your selling process.
Yeah.
Rant over.
On that note, any time to discuss any of the topics we've discussed today, his contact email is on screen now, and you can also find him on LinkedIn by searching Forbes Bryce.
Yep.
In next week's episode, we'll be in discussion with Holly O'Hara from Jones White and Caitlin O'Hare from Levy and McRae about the challenges of being a trainee solicitor during lockdown. Holly and Caitlin are both entering the second year of their traineeships with their respective firms. Like many of us, they've been working remotely for the past few months and are keen to give our listeners some insight into the challenges trainees have faced, as well as the positives that emerged during this time. We will also touch on the short, medium and long-term effects COVID-19 is having on trainees, and that episode will take place at 3:30 on Wednesday the 3rd of June. A registration link will be sent out in due course. This episode has been recorded and will be available to watch on our website in the next 24 hours. The link is here and it will also be sent to you directly once it's ready to view. That's episode 7 ended for this week. I'd like to thank Forbes and everyone listening for joining us this afternoon. And finally, I would just like to say, stay home, stay safe, and at least for the rest of today.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thanks for that, Forbes. I appreciate your time.
Cheers, then.
Thanks. Bye.